What is up and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be my first versus video. There have been a lot of comments and questions about should I get the WoW 10, should I get the Lebron 20, and lucky for you, I have both pairs and have played a significant time in both. They're both top tier performers. I really like both pairs. There are some differences and similarities. So if you haven't checked out those videos already, I do have a performance video on the WoW 10 and a performance video on the Lebron 20 if you want a more detailed review. This video is specifically going to be comparing the two models, so I'll probably leave out specifics about each sneaker, but hopefully this is helpful for you. Also, if you've been enjoying the recent videos on sneaker performance reviews and don't want to miss out on any future uploads, then I would suggest you subscribe and might as well like the video while you're at it. But let's go ahead and dive into it. So if you're looking for a next shoe to play in, it makes sense why you'd be picking between these two shoes, mainly because they're both one of the main signature lines for each of the respective brands. The Lebron line for Nike, the WoW line for Li Ning. Also, price point wise, they're both around the $200 price point. So $200 retail for the Lebrons, $199 retail for the low of the WoW 10. So the first thing I want to compare between the two models is the tech and the materials. For Lebron 20, we have mostly a knit upper, which is fairly thick and comfortable. We have a very padded heel and ankle area, also very comfortable. As far as the cushioning, we have Cushlon for the foam, and then we also have a Zoom Turbo unit in the forefoot and a heel unit in the heel. And then there's also a carbon fiber shank plate in the middle. This is not full length. It is in the WoW 10s. So moving to the WoW 10s, we have mostly a mesh upper material, which is also comfortable. Probably a little bit more lightweight than Lebron's as far as that goes. Also very comfortable padded heel and Achilles area. For the cushioning, we have full length boom. There's a lot more compression in the heel and it kind of tapers as we go to the forefoot. And then we also have a full length carbon fiber shank plate in the WoW 10. So materials wise, I think the Lebron 20 is a little bit more premium here. We have two Zoom units, one in the forefoot, one in the heel. Whereas for Li Ning and the WoW 10, it's just the full length boom cushioning. As far as the carbon fiber plates that the shoes have, I don't feel it as much in the Lebrons as I do in the WoW 10s, so I would probably give that to the WoW 10s. So as far as overall tech and materials, I think you are getting a little bit more with the Lebron 20, and there's some more premium hits in the Lebron 20 compared to the WoW 10. So tech and materials, I'll probably swing the Lebron 20 way, but as we all probably already know, better tech and materials does not guarantee better performance in the shoe. But as far as that category, I'm going to say the Lebron 20 is a little bit better as far as tech and materials. So moving on to the fit of the shoes, both pairs I would say fit fairly snug. I went shooter size for both, so 9.5 in the WoW 10, 9.5 in the Lebron 20. Overall, I personally like the fit of the WoW 10 a little bit better than the Lebron 20, and I think that's mainly due to the material of the upper. So typically when I'm playing, I like to relace my shoes once I've gotten a little bit warm, so maybe after hitting lines or after the first set, I will unlace my shoes and then relace them to get a better lockdown and fit. So when I do that for the WoW 10s, there's not a lot of extra lace that I end up getting on the second retie once I'm warm. But for the Lebron 20s, there is a significant increase in the amount of lace I'm able to tie when I'm relacing, if that makes sense, AKA this will be longer once I retie because the fit isn't as great when, especially when I'm cold on the Lebron 20s, and there's a little bit more room in the shoe when I'm playing. So I think that has to do, again, with the upper material. So since the upper on the WoW 10 is like a thin mesh, it's easier for me to get a better fit and lockdown on the shoe compared to the Lebron 20 because like I said earlier in the video, this knit material is actually fairly thick. So it's harder to get that snug one-to-one fit in this shoe. So as far as fit, I'm going to go with the WoW 10s. So on the cushioning, you probably have an idea of which shoe is probably gonna win in this category, but there are some caveats that come with that. So we can start with the Lebron 20. So we have Cushlon for the foam, a Zoom Turbo unit in the forefoot, and a Zoom heel unit in the heel. This cushion setup is actually pretty great. There's a lot of compression with Cushlon. You can feel the Zoom bag in the forefoot as well in the heel. I think you can feel it a little bit more in the heel since that's a full bag and not a Zoom Turbo unit where the Zoom is actually articulated, which is like very popular in the Kyrie shoe line. So you don't feel as bouncy, but you definitely still feel it. And then onto the WoW 10, full length boom cushioning, and then both have a carbon fiber shank plate, which I'm gonna kind of loop in with the cushioning. It's not full length in the Lebron 20, it is full length in the WoW 10, so I definitely feel the plate a lot more in the WoW 10, and if you watch that review, I kind of said the WoW 10 is more springy than bouncy. I would say that still holds true. LeBron 20 is a little bit more bouncy than the WoW 10, mainly because there's more cushion in the forefoot in the LeBron 20 than there is in the WoW 10, and that's fine. So as far as cushion setup, I'm gonna go with the LeBron 20, but the caveat that I did want to talk about is when I'm playing the LeBron 20, I definitely feel higher off the ground than I do in the WoW 10, and that's because of, you can kind of just look at this shoe and see that this is a thicker midsole than the WoW 10, and so you kind of feel a little unstable compared to the WoW 10 and the LeBron 20 because of how high you are off the ground. It's not anything crazy, but it is noticeable. So as far as stability wise, I feel a little bit more stable in the WoW 10 than I do in the LeBron 20. And there is a little bit more of an outrigger on the WoW 10 compared to the LeBron 20. So that is the caveat, is you're a little bit closer to the ground in the WoW 10 than you are in the LeBron 20. So better court feel, a little bit more responsive cushion system compared to LeBron 20. But if you're looking for more impact protection when you're jumping and landing, then I would probably go with the LeBron 20. It's very close. I feel faster in the WoW 10, but in the LeBron 20, I feel the ground a little bit less, which can be good if you are playing in a tournament and you're swinging outside hitter and you want more impact protection when you're hitting, you're jumping a lot, you're blocking a lot. So I think tournament-wise, if you're playing longer, LeBron 20 will probably be better for your joints as far as impact protection than the WoW 10. But if you're only playing a few sets, in my Wednesday league, we play 4 sets, 2 sets against one team, 2 sets against another team. So I'm not gonna really feel that difference too much with the cushion setup in these two shoes. So I like both, but if I wanted to prioritize cushioning, then I'm gonna go with the LeBron 20. Definitely keep that in mind. I definitely don't feel this carbon plate as much as I do in the WoW 10 because this isn't full length. So that's what I wanted to say regarding the cushioning. So cushioning, LeBron 20, very solid, a little bit more court feel, but still, I really like this cushion setup as well. So moving on to the next major component, which is the traction of the shoe. We have solid rubber on the WoW 10, concentric circle design, medium soft hardness on the rubber, and the grooves are fairly thin, but squeaky, performs really well. And then on the LeBron 20, this is a translucent pink outsole material. Rubber hardness is also kind of on the medium soft side. The grooves are also kind of thin, and as far as the traction pattern, it's more on the storytelling side, so nothing like herringbone or circles. It's kind of random. There's definitely more behind to the traction pattern, but it performs really well as well. So the traction was not an issue and was a highlight for both of these pairs and all the court types that I played in, so sport courts and hardwood. So traction on these, top tier. I can't really pick a traction as far as which one is better than the other, and I think that's a good thing. Shoes these days, the traction is getting a lot better, and traction patterns, rubber compounds are getting more fine-tuned, so you definitely see that in both of these sneakers. So if traction is kind of like the swinging point for you as to which pair you should pick, you are covered either way. Very happy with both. Some things to note is on the LeBron 20, at least on the medial side, the traction does come up onto the midsole. It does also do that on the WoW 10 on the medial side, but it's not as apparent or aggressive. I know this is probably not what you want to hear, but for the traction, I'm going to give it a tie for both of these shoes, and they're both great. So I think that's a good problem in my opinion. So those are the main things that I wanted to talk about as far as comparing the two sneakers. Hopefully that gives you a better idea. Some other small things that I wanted to point out is the WoW 10 does have a heel tab here for you to pull on, which is very helpful, especially for this shoe because of how snug and one-to-one the fit is. I definitely take advantage of this when I'm putting my foot into the shoe. The LeBron 20 actually does not have that, which is kind of annoying. Not a huge deal, but I wish it did have a pull tab. So as far as the aesthetics of the shoes, I think both look really awesome. This is the LeBron 20, my first LeBron in the LeBron line, and the WoW 10 also looks really good in my opinion. This is also my first shoe in the Way of Wade line. So first time wearing these, I can't compare to older models. So if I were to pick between the two pairs, if it isn't obvious, I like both pairs. I would put them both in the S tier. So I like both shoes. But if it came down to it and I had $200 to spend, being a very close race, I would probably pick the WoW 10s. This being a little bit higher off the ground and that small extra little height does make it feel a little bit unstable. So you do have less feel for the court, where for these, you don't have that feeling because of how low they sit Also, laterally, I think here we have a little bit of a lateral guard right here to help, add for extra support when you're pushing off, but it's less substantial than the TPU guard that they have on the WoW 10s. So better fit, better containment on this shoe. The cushion is still solid, not as good as LeBron's, but still very good. So I think I would still swing the WoW 10 way if I were to pick between the two, but ultimately it's up to you. It's like based on your play style, what positions you play, what shoes you like. I don't really have a comparison for the LeBron 20, but I think I do have a pretty close comparison for the WoW 10. This might be a hot take, but I've been thinking about this, and I think it's very similar to the Kobe 5 actually. Very good fit, very good traction, more cushion in the heel than the forefoot, and they feel very similar. So let me know if anyone else has both of those pairs of shoes, the WoW 10 and the Kobe 5, and if you think that's a legit comparison, because the more I play in these, the more I see these being like a reincarnation of the Kobe 5. I know people hate it when you're like, this is the next Kobe, but this feels more like a Kobe than the LeBron 20 does in my opinion, so that's probably another reason why I'm swinging towards the WoW 10. Let me know if you like this versus video. Hopefully it was helpful for you if you're trying to make a decision. I think as far as colorways, there's probably cooler colorways in the LeBron 20, so if that matters to you, maybe get the LeBron 20. They're also a little bit easier to get. There's more sizes, more colorways on Nike than Li Ning does have on the WoW 10, so if that matters to you, LeBron 20s might be the right fit. But I think that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Thanks for watching, and like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, just subscribe anyway. I don't know. That's gonna do it. I'll see you in the next one. Go Dubs. Oh my gosh, these are both Lakers shoes, LeBron and... Okay, between you and me, these are better than the Currys.